We're back. We're back working on old trucks, 67 to 72. All right, this was a viewer request. So I kind of got it figured out best I can what I've got going. But when it comes to brakes and brake lines, they can be complicated and confusing. This is the block I use. It's a common block used on these old trucks. It's a distribution block. But you have a bunch of different sizes. Now, the comment I got was he had a quarter 20 fitting. At least that's what he thought it was. Now, I like quarter 20. It's one of my favorite size bolts. But none of them are that size. So maybe he meant these small ones, which are 5/16 24 thread. On this particular block, I'll take you to the truck and show you. These are the inlets that come from your reservoir, front and rear. These come pre-bent and pre-made with the right ends on them. Well, at least these were. You'll see these are color coded. Not all of them are. The plain color here versus a powder blue. There's a dark blue, which this back one, I'll show you on the truck. It goes to the rear of the truck. That one is, well, it's a 9/16 19 thread. Now, going to the parts store, I don't think you can tell them that's what you want because they're not going to know that. It's probably not even on the label. These are metric, and there's actually 2 or 3 different metric brands that you get into with like Mercedes and Audi and BMW, and they use different thread counts and different fittings, so it gets very complicated. I had a Dodge pickup truck that I needed an adapter because it was like this, a small one and a large one. And the store didn't have it. And he says, well, I'll try to give you an adapter, but I'm not sure we can go that big. Well, what we ended up doing was getting 2 adapters. One of these is threaded on the outside and the inside, and it has the proper fitting. And basically you would, I don't have enough here to show you, but you would thread one into that, and then the last one into that. Well, it don't look the greatest, but you've got hard threads. It's all brass. It's all, well, this isn't brass, but these are brass. I try to buy them in the heavy brass ones, but whatever it is, your thread to thread contact, don't be concerned with it. Somebody might pick on you and say, look at that. You know what? It works, but more importantly, it's safe. I don't do a lot of flaring. I guess I didn't spend the money to get a couple $100 tool because I just don't do enough of it to do the double flare. And a single flare is just not appropriate. So I tend to buy the parts and pieces that are already made, get the adapters, and make it work. It saves you a couple $100 on a tool you use 2-3 times in your life, at least for me, and I work on a lot of these vehicles. But I prefer to replace the lines with pre-made, pre-bent lines, mainly because it saves me all this headache, but in a minute I'll show you where it doesn't. So I like to keep a couple of these pieces around. I have more, but what I would do, and what I have done, is I'd thread, like this here has to be plugged on my truck, and on most of these 67 to 72s. A square body uses a different system, but again, I digress. You find one of these pieces you have at home, I mean, maybe you don't, I understand that. But you find something that fits in there, this is a perfect thread, perfect fit, you can wiggle it. I take this to the parts store and tell them, I'm plugging this off. It has a special bottom to it. It's not just square, it has to have the taper. Go in there and say, I need to plug this size. Then, at least most of the time they can get it right. Sometimes still, not so much. So there's the start of trying to help you out with a conglomeration of mess. I'm going to give you the numbers just in case it helps you. This rear one, I think, is the one you're having trouble with. It goes to the rear of the truck. It's the largest one. It's a 9/16 with a 19 thread count. But I believe all American 9/16 are the same, 19 thread count. This little one that you'll need to plug this, or maybe get lines for them. This bottom one's the same that goes to the front. That is the 5/16 24 thread, if that helps you. But I'm not done yet. I'm going to show you some more fun stuff with brakes. And then we're going to move along to fun. I don't know, can you see over there? Yeah, a little bit. Let me tip you up. I know you saw this in the last video, but I got it put together now. This is what it looks like with the hoses and hose clamps on it. I'm going to hold it by the bracket. This weighs nothing. There's nothing to this. It's super light. But I've got my filters on there. I got all my hoses on there. These are non-hose clamp fittings. Yeah, I'll probably put clamps on because that's how I am. It's unnecessary, especially on the vacuum side. But let's get back to this brake thing. We'll see if we can get this sorted out for the gentleman that sent me the comment. So over here to this 1971 C10 in Spanish gold. We're going to look at sneaky tricks and see what we can do there, what we can show you and maybe help out. So here on Sneaky Trips, I got the same block that Tom bought for his 68. So this is how the block is mounted. On a later model, OBS or square body or some of the newer models, they'll run a separate, this is the front brake lines on these trucks, right out of the bottom. And at the frame, it tees off and goes to the two front brakes. That's how they did it. It's not a problem. I don't see why you do it differently. But they did. GM switched up and went to the double line, twice lines instead of once line. So each line would go to a different tire wheel. So you'd run the two lines all the way out. It's not how these are done, so I didn't do it. And then this output for the rear comes out and down, and that goes all the way to the back as a single line, and then tees on the axle. I could show you, but I think you've seen it before. And then this is just your brake light, dummy light. Something's broke, something's wrong light, which you're gonna know when it goes wrong. But anyway, so adapters. I can't get you under this thing to show you, but I'll show you on the 68. And I'm gonna name drop this, I don't care. I bought my lines from LMC. Nice kit. I enjoyed putting them in. No, they weren't bent perfect, nothing was exact. But when I got it all put together, all the lengths were proper, and most of the ends were proper, all but one. And I believe it was the passenger side. It was just the wrong end. It was all crimped on nice. It had the double flare, but it was the wrong size. So I bought an adapter. So then I get on the 68 over here, and Tom bought these. And I think he got these from, they call it Inline Tube, right here out of Michigan. If that's the right name, I don't know, but I think it is. So I can get you over there a little closer. You're not going to believe this. And I think they color code them for the guys putting it together. But if you can see down in, I don't know how well you can see because I can't see. I don't know, I think you can see. Down here they have a red end on it. And again, I think they do this for manufacturing, so they remember to always put those on the end. And that red end fits the brake hose perfectly. I'm like, great. It was all pre-bent. It fit right on the car right. It bolted down. It had the right, everything to it. But look over here, because I got a mess. This was inline tube. I mean, no better, no worse than LMC. Because on this side, look, got one of these natural colored, yellow goldish type looking ones. Well, I already know that's not the right size for the end because these hoses are the same. So it needed a red end on it. So this is the passenger side. Okay, mine was the driver. I couldn't remember which is which. So the passenger side of Tom's truck is wrong, and we'll put an adapter on there. It's not a big deal. A single adapter. This is the wrong size. It's too small. We'll put an adapter. Boom, we'll be all set. It's never going to be an issue. I already did it to mine on the driver's side. So I guess it doesn't matter who you buy them from. I'm 100% 2 for 2 wrong. I mean, I guess you could count all the lines and it wouldn't be that bad, but both sets had something wrong with the ends and I had to buy an adapter. So that's about it for brakes. It's all I got for you. I'm sorry, brakes are a pain. There's a lot of fittings with a lot of sizes. Even on All-American, it doesn't matter. There's a blue, light blue, dark blue, red. I think there's a gold, pink. I think there's even a silver one. So there it is. Best I can do now for that. I'm sure we'll be working on brakes again someday. There's always, I got to put brakes on my Dodge, but that'll be on Farm Love and Fool channel, so I won't bore you with that because this channel is all about 67 to 72. So over here, still on the 68, I'm going to show you how they do this. Do a little work rather than just talk all the time. So originally, this is going to be hard for some of you to believe. Definitely. Originally, the shocks on this truck, on these 67 to 72s, not sure about 1972, but they just had a stem on here, and this slipped on with no nut, just like a bolt, no threads, no nut, and then you bolted the bottom to the vehicle, and it bouncing up and down because the bottom is mounted, it can't come off of that shaft, and it worked for years, but evidently it bothered people. Yep, I said it bothered them. I should have my gloves on. So what they do nowadays, they send you an adapter. So instead of it just being that, I keep calling it a shaft, I don't know what it is, they put threads on the end. So there you go, now you got threads on the end. Well, while we're here, let's do it. Get this done. So it simply goes in the hole, lock washing, because they work. Nice bold knot. I don't know if it's hardened or not, but they got it colored that way. Put that right on there. We're gonna mount this shock on here. That's another story. So it comes with this adapter, nuts, bolts, washers, lock washers, everything you could possibly need. I think that's this size. I don't know why they didn't put flat spots on that to be the hole, but you're only putting it on once, I guess it don't matter. And you can't see it spinning. Oh, it's still going. So I'll just, yeah, I know, I hate to do it, but just, like I said, there's no flat spots. So if I'm gonna make some teeth marks, and then I'll do up here where it don't matter. I mean, it's not part of, I should be running the other way, shouldn't I? Yeah, they don't fit that way. Yeah, I know, that's how it works. I'll make everything look harder than it really is. This'll work, we just gotta get it tight one time. Come on, we're all done. Get my head in here.